They begged for fame and offered blood in return. Behind the flashing lights and red carpets, something ancient watches. What would you sacrifice to be famous? Hello family, enjoy this relaxing moment with AfricanFolktales 38. Remember to subscribe and share your thoughts in the comment section and generously hit the like button because it means a lot to us. Please relax and enjoy as we dive in the story. The secret room. The mansion was silent. Thick fog rolled over the garden, swallowing the moonlight. At exactly 2 a.m., a black SUV pulled up in front of the grand white building. A tall figure stepped out. Her name was Zara Blaze, the most trending actress in the country. She was known for her beauty, boldness, and sudden rise to fame. But what nobody knew was how she got there. Inside the mansion, the air was heavy. Zara walked past the portraits of dead celebrities hung on the hallway walls. Each face had a fake smile, but their eyes, they looked like they were crying. Zara clutched a golden key in her hand. She stopped in front of a red door at the end of the corridor. Her fingers trembled as she inserted the key. The door creaked open slowly, revealing a dark staircase leading underground. She whispered, "I'm ready, take what you want." A low growl echoed from below. Then came footsteps, but they weren't human. Zara lit a candle and descended. The walls were covered in strange symbols, painted with real blood. At the bottom was a huge room filled with mirrors. In each mirror was a different version of her, smiling, laughing, crying, screaming. Then she saw it, a tall man with no eyes, wearing a black robe and holding a book made of human skin. "Welcome back," he said in a voice that echoed like 10 people talking at once. "I want more fame. More followers. More fans," she said, her voice shaking. The man nodded. "Then you must give me more." She fell to her knees. "What else can I give? You already took my sleep, my peace, my voice." The man snapped his fingers. A screen appeared in the air showing her younger brother, asleep in his college dorm. "Give me his life, and I'll give you a global movie deal by morning." Tears ran down Zara's cheeks. "He's all I have left." "Fame has no room for family," the man hissed. She stood still for a moment. Then slowly, she nodded. The candle blew out. Somewhere far away, her brother stopped breathing in his sleep. And at the same time, Zara's phone lit up. "You just got cast iron, World War Z, the Part 3, main lead." The mask behind the glamour. The next morning, the world woke up to shocking news. Zara Blaze had landed the biggest movie role of the year. Social media exploded with praise, envy, and gossip. Her followers increased by over 2 million in just 6 hours. But inside Zara's mansion, the celebration felt like a funeral. She sat alone in her luxury bathtub, fully clothed, her eyes fixed on the water. It didn't feel like victory. Her hands trembled as she remembered the mirror room and the price she paid. Suddenly, her best friend, Lila, burst into the bathroom. "Zara, you did it. You're in World War Z, Part 3. This is huge." Zara forced a smile. "Yeah, it's what I always wanted." Lila didn't notice the fear in her eyes. "Tonight, there's a party at Club Noir. You have to come. The media will be all over you." Zara nodded slowly, even though her body screamed no. That night, dressed in gold and diamonds, Zara arrived at the club. Cameras flashed. Music roared. Everyone wanted a piece of her. But as she posed on the red carpet, something strange happened. She saw a boy standing in the crowd. He looked exactly like her brother. Same eyes. Same jacket. Zara froze. She blinked, and he was gone. Inside the club, everything felt off. The music was too loud. The lights flashed too fast. Every face around her looked fake, as if everyone was wearing a plastic smile. She went to the restroom to catch her breath. As she stared at the mirror, the lights flickered, and suddenly, her reflection didn't smile back. Instead, it reached out of the glass and whispered, "You're next." Zara screamed and ran out. But no one seemed to care. Everyone was dancing, laughing, filming, like nothing was wrong. She sat in a corner, shaking, when an old woman in rags approached her. "You've been marked," the woman said, her voice low. "You gave blood for fame. But blood never stops taking." "What do you mean?" Zara asked. "The fame you bought is cursed. You think you're the only one who went down there." The woman pulled out a small photo. It showed a group of celebrities, actors, singers, influencers, all smiling at an award ceremony. Zara stared in shock. Every one of those people had died mysteriously in the last 2 years. "You're part of the pact now," the woman whispered. "And there's no way out." Before Zara could respond, security dragged the old woman out of the club. But the word stayed with her, no way out. That night, Zara returned home to find a gift box waiting for her on her bed. There was no name. She opened it and screamed. Inside was her brother's wristwatch. The one he never took off. And underneath it, a note. "More will be required." The ritual of echoes. Zara didn't sleep that night. She locked all the doors and turned off every light in her mansion. But still, she felt like she was being watched. The gift box with her brother's wristwatch remained untouched on the floor, but it seemed to whisper to her in the dark. By morning, Zara's face looked pale and tired, but the world didn't care. The producers of World War Z Part 3 had sent a private jet to take her to Hollywood. The cameras were ready. Makeup artists, stylists, and reporters waited. She had to smile. She had to look perfect. Fame didn't allow sadness. As she boarded the plane, a strange man in a black suit approached her quietly. "Miss Blaze, I've been instructed to remind you," he said with a cold smile. "Your next offering is due tonight." Zara's heart sank. What offering? The ritual of echoes. "You agreed to it when you stepped into the mirror room," he whispered. "If you fail, you disappear. Like the others." Before she could ask more, he vanished into the crowd. Zara sat in silence on the flight, her thoughts racing. What had she gotten herself into? Was this the real price of fame? In Hollywood, she was welcomed like a queen. The movie set was massive, filled with famous actors and directors. She acted through her scenes like a robot, smiling, crying, fighting, while her mind screamed. As the sun set, she was taken to her hotel room. Alone. There, a letter was waiting for her on the bed. It had no stamp. No name. Inside, it read, "At midnight, go to room 66 of the Underground Theater. Do not bring anyone. Do not speak. Do not look behind you." Zara's hands shook as she held the note. At 11:55 p.m., she took the elevator down to the theater's underground level. The hallway was long and dimly lit. As she walked, she passed dozens of photos actors who had died young. Their eyes followed her. Room 66 was at the very end. The door was black, with a red handprint on it. She knocked. No answer. She pushed it open. Inside was a single chair in the center of the room and a mirror hanging from the ceiling. She sat down. Suddenly, the mirror lit up, showing her reflection, except this version of her was crying blood. Then the voice returned. The one from the basement. "Speak your truth, or be forgotten," it hissed. Zara's lips trembled. I gave my brother's life for fame." The mirror cracked. "Who do you choose next?" the voice asked. "No, please, no more." The walls around her began to close in. The air grew colder. "Choose, or be erased." Zara thought of her manager, her ex-boyfriend, her former friend Lila. She closed her eyes. "Lila," she whispered. The mirror shattered. Blood poured from the ceiling like rain. The floor opened beneath her, swallowing the chair. Zara screamed. Then she woke up. She was back in her hotel room. It was morning. Everything looked normal. Until her phone rang. It was the news: socialite Lila Storm dies in mysterious fire last night. Zara dropped the phone. Her hands were covered in ash. But she hadn't gone anywhere. Or had she? Her fame grew stronger that day. 3 more movie offers. 1 magazine cover. 1 billion views on her latest video. And deep inside, a voice whispered, "You're becoming unstoppable." But the question was, at what cost? Whispers in the fire. The flames danced on her phone screen. Zara stared in horror as she watched the news replay for the 3rd time. Lila's mansion had gone up in flames at exactly midnight. Her body was found near the staircase, burned beyond recognition, with a terrified expression frozen on her face. The news anchors called it an unfortunate accident. But Zara knew the truth. She chose Lila. And now, Lila was gone. The hotel room felt colder than usual. Zara tried to breathe, but the air was thick, heavy, like she was underwater. She rushed to the bathroom and splashed cold water on her face. As she looked up, the mirror began to fog from the inside. She stepped back. A message slowly formed on the glass. "One more. Then the crown is yours." Zara stumbled out of the bathroom, her heart pounding. She grabbed her phone and tried to call her mother, but the number said, "User does not exist." She tried again. Nothing. Suddenly, her phone rang. Unknown number. Against her better judgment, she answered. "You're almost at the top, Zara," said the voice on the other end. It was the same voice from the mirror room. Smooth. Cold. Timeless. "What do you want from me?" she whispered. "You came to us, remember? You begged for the spotlight. You cried for followers, begged for magazine covers. We didn't force you." "I didn't know you'd ask for blood," she cried. "We always ask for blood. Fame doesn't come free. You can either give us one more soul, or we take you." The call ended. Zara dropped her phone. Her body felt like ice. The walls of the hotel began to close in again, or maybe it was her imagination. She crawled into a corner and stayed there until morning. By the next day, she was expected to appear on a popular morning show. She dressed herself in a shiny red dress and forced her lips to smile. The world didn't care about her fear. They wanted the version of her that was perfect. But as she walked onto the stage, something strange happened. The host, famous TV personality Rick Smart, kept glancing at her oddly. Midway through the interview, he suddenly said, "Tell me, Zara, what does it feel like to trade lives for fame?" The audience gasped. Zora's smile froze. "Excuse me." Rick leaned closer. "Don't worry, no one else can hear us. You've seen the mirrors, haven't you? You've made the deals." Zora's body went numb. The cameras were still rolling. But it was like the world had paused around them. "I'm like you," Rick whispered, his eyes now glowing slightly. 20 years ago, I gave up my twin brother for this talk show. Worth it. He was a loser anyway." "You?" Zara blinked. I gave them my brother too." Rick laughed and patted her shoulder. "Then you're one of us. Welcome to the real game." When the show ended, Zara walked off the stage in a daze. The audience clapped. Her followers grew. The media praised her beauty, her poise. But inside, she felt like a shadow. That night, she returned to her suite and found another note on her bed. This time, it read, "Bring the final one to the old studio at 3 a.m. The crown awaits." Zara stared at the note. Her hands were shaking. Who would be the final one? Her mother was unreachable. Her father had died years ago. Then she remembered someone, her childhood friend, Maid. He was her first crush, the only one who ever believed in her before the fame. They hadn't spoken in months, not since she became a celebrity. Could she? "No," she said out loud. "I can't do that to him." But then the voice whispered in her mind. "He's not famous. He won't be missed." Tears rolled down her face. She grabbed her phone and called him. "Zara." Maid answered, surprised. "Wow, it's been so long." "Maid, I need to see you." please. It's important. Of course. Where? Meet me at the old studio, tonight. At 3 a.m. There was a pause. That place. But. Please, she begged. For old time's sake. Okay. I'll be there. At 2:50 a.m., Zara stood outside the abandoned studio where she had filmed her first ever commercial. It was dark and surrounded by trees. The wind howled through broken windows. The place smelled like dust and rusted metal. Mike arrived at exactly 3 a.m. He looked the same, gentle, kind, with soft eyes that once gave her comfort. Zara, what's this about? Why here? She couldn't speak. She looked down, tears falling silently. Zara. Suddenly, the lights inside the building flickered on. A cold wind blew open the studio doors. No, no, not now, she whispered. Mike turned to leave, but the door slammed shut. He was trapped inside. Zara fell to her knees. I'm sorry, Mike, they'll take me if I don't. The mirrors on the studio walls began to glow. Shadows danced across them. The same eyeless man appeared in the center of the room, holding a burning crown. The final offering, he said. Or vanish like dust. Mike stared in confusion and fear. What is this? Zara, what's going on? Zara stood, trembling. I didn't want this. I just wanted to be known. To be loved. To be someone. You already were, Mike said. Before all this, you were everything to me. Zara gasped. For a moment, time paused. The mirrors cracked. The man's voice boomed, choose. Zara turned, looked at Mike, then looked at the crown. And something inside her snapped. No, she said. I won't do this anymore. The man snarled. Then you will burn. The mirrors shattered. Fire burst from the ground. The studio shook. Mike tried to run, but the flames blocked every exit. Zara closed her eyes. She ran straight into the fire toward Mike. She grabbed his hand. And just before the fire consumed them, she screamed, take me instead. Everything went black. Zara woke up in a hospital bed. Bandaged. Weak. Mike was beside her, unharmed. You saved me, he whispered. She smiled through the pain. I guess fame isn't worth everything. The news reported a gas explosion at the old studio. No mention of rituals. No mention of the man. Just an accident. Zara withdrew from the spotlight. She left Hollywood. She deleted her social media. She disappeared from fame. And for once, she felt free. But sometimes at night, when she looks into mirrors, she sees the crown. Still burning. 6 months had passed since Zara Blaze vanished from the public eye. No paparazzi had seen her. No fans had caught her on camera. Her face, once printed across magazines and movie posters, had slowly faded from fame's spotlight. Rumors spread like wildfire. Zara joined a cult. Zara lost her mind. Zara faked her death for attention. But none of them were true. Zara was alive, quietly living in a small village far from the city. Her once luxurious nails were now plain. Her face, no longer powdered with fame, looked softer, freer. She helped children with acting classes at a community center and spent her afternoons watering plants behind her modest home. But even here, peace was not perfect. Every now and then, a shadow would appear in her mirror. A whisper would sneak through the silence. A flicker of the crown burning, watching, waiting. One evening, as she sat reading under the moonlight, a knock came at her door. She wasn't expecting anyone. She opened it slowly. Standing there was a young girl about 12, with bright eyes and a nervous smile. Hi, are you Miss Zara Blaze? Zara froze. I was told you could help me, the girl said. I want to be famous too. Zara's heart skipped a beat. Who told you about me? The girl looked behind her, as if afraid to say. A man. no eyes. He gave me your address. He said you know the way. Zara stepped back, fear creeping up her spine. I don't do that anymore. The girl held out a piece of paper. It was blank. But when Zara touched it, blood-red words appeared. Pass it on. Or claim the crown. The girl's eyes turned glassy for a moment. Then she fainted. Zara carried her inside and laid her on the couch. Her heart thudded with dread. They were back. The pact wasn't done with her. She called Might immediately. You need to come. It's starting again. Within hours, Might arrived. He now lived just 2 towns away, working as a photographer and living a simple, happy life. But seeing Zara's pale face brought back all the old fear. As Zara explained what happened, Might nodded slowly. You never destroyed the pact. You only delayed it. They are looking for a new host. A new celebrity to carry the curse. Zara looked at the girl. She stirred in her sleep. A single tear rolled down her cheek. She's too young. She doesn't know what she's asking for. Neither did you. Zara sat down heavily. Then maybe it's time to end this. For good. She remembered something the old woman at the club once told her, only the mirror that gives can take back. You must return to where the first truth was spoken. The mirror room. It was the only place left to break the pact. Zara wrapped the girl in a blanket, took her by the hand, and with Might by her side, drove back to the mansion where it all began. The mansion had aged terribly. Nature had reclaimed it, vines covered the walls, and the roof sagged like a tired old man. But the inside was exactly the same. The hallway. The blood-painted symbols. The silence. As they descended into the basement, the candles lit themselves. The mirrors were waiting. But this time, they didn't reflect anyone. Not Zara. Not Might. Not even the girl. Just darkness. A deep growl echoed through the room. The eyeless man stepped from one of the mirrors, his robe flowing like smoke. You return, but not as our queen. I came to end this, Zara said, voice firm. This curse. This cycle. The man laughed, 1,000 voices layered in one. You don't end what you don't control. Fame belongs to us. Then take me back. I wear the crown. Just let her go. He shook his head slowly. It doesn't work like that anymore. She's the chosen one now. The world is hungry for a new face. Zara dropped to her knees. Please. She's just a child. Suddenly, Might stepped forward. What if we destroy the mirror, he said. The one that gave her the crown. The man's smile faded. No mirror, no pact. Before he could move, Might threw a rock at the main mirror. It cracked. Screams erupted from inside the glass. The other mirrors trembled. Stop, the man roared. Zara pulled the girl close. Now, Might. Might threw another rock. Then another. Each mirror began to shatter. With every crack, Zara saw flashes of trapped souls, actors, singers, influencers, screaming from behind the glass. They were crying, reaching out. The room shook violently. The walls began to collapse. The man lunged toward them, but this time, Zara was ready. She stood up, grabbed the burning crown from the air, and with all her strength, smashed it on the final mirror. It exploded. Light burst from the walls. And then, silence. Zara opened her eyes. She was outside. The mansion had collapsed completely. Nothing but smoke and dust. Beside her, the girl slowly opened her eyes. What happened? You're safe now, Zara whispered. It's over. Might limped toward them, covered in dust. You did it. You ended it. Zara looked into a broken shard of glass on the ground. For the first time, no shadows. No whispers. Just a reflection. Tired. Free. Human. A year later, Zara Blaze released a short film online titled The Crown. It was a quiet project. No celebrities. No marketing. Just a story of a girl who gave everything for fame and chose freedom instead. The video went viral. Not because of scandal. Not because of magic. But because it was real. Zara never returned to the big screen. She spent her days teaching, healing, and guiding young artists to find their voice, not by selling their soul, but by honoring it. As for the girl, her name was Hope. And she never wanted to be famous again. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe and share.